Hey there, it's David Carter again from Carter Injury Law. We have another case update for you. So this is the new case phase called settlement negotiation preparation, or demand prep. So it appears to us that your medical treatment has gone well, and we are at a point where we can begin to prepare for negotiations with the insurance company. So what this video is doing is I want to talk a little bit about that process with you and what it's going to look like from here and what happens next. So first of all, and this is very important, it's important that you continue treating using your doctor's recommendations until the end of the case and beyond if you're still injured. Medical treatment goes beyond the case. If you need it, and you got to get it. But for us to maximize case value, it's important to regularly attend these doctor's appointments, even though the doctor may have said you're technically released from care. What that really means is that you need to still come on an as-needed basis. And I would encourage you to actually talk to the doctor about that. But if they say you've reached maximum medical improvement, that means that you're on an as-needed basis. Or if they performed a final examination, look at those terms, talk to the doctor. Does that mean I really don't need to come anymore? A lot of times they're going to say, no, you need to come as needed. So all that means is the doctor has reached a point where he can give us an opinion on your injuries, that whether or not they're causally related to the accident that we represent you for, and give us an opinion on whether those injuries are permanent. And that is what we need to move forward. It doesn't mean that you need to stop treatment if you need it. To the contrary, you really should continue with medical treatment as long as you're still in pain and as long as your case is ongoing. So what do we do from here? From here, we spend the next several weeks gathering all your medical records and bills and evaluating your case. So we're going to make sure we have everything documented in your file. We're going to make sure we have all the payments, and so we know what the medical bills are. Your case manager and our staff and legal team here are going to request these medical records and bills that we're missing. So we should have requested them by now, but just in case, if we're missing, we're gonna look at ambulance records and billing. We're gonna look at hospital records and billing. When you go to the hospital, they have what's called sub-providers there, emergency room physicians and radiologists. We're gonna look at that. Chiropractors, physical therapists, massage therapists, and a lot of times we need you to get us those records and bills. Same with acupuncturists. We're gonna look at MRI facilities, spine surgeons, pain management doctors. So if you've been there and it's related to the case, we need it, and we're going to do our best to get it. If you think you've been to any doctor that we might not know about, now is the time to reach out to us. It is very important that you reach out to your case manager to let him or her know that, hey, you may be missing a doctor, because we want to get those records. In some instances, we're going to want to get prior medical records to prepare for these settlement negotiations as well. A lot of times, the only way we know about a medical treatment is from our client. So some clients say, hey, you didn't know I went to Dr. X, Y, or Z, and we're like, you never told us we didn't know. So we're never gonna say, hey, don't call us, tell us when you go see a doctor. So once a month, we do a case review. That includes making sure that we have a copy of the police report, making sure that we have all of the property damage, photos and estimates to your vehicle. That would include the estimate of your vehicle repairs and any supplemental estimates. We want to get scenes of a slip and fall, or pictures of the house, or pictures of a dog that bit you, any other documentation essentially that we need to substantiate your claim. We're reviewing that claim once a month, and we're looking through the file, we're making sure that we have everything. We also will need to get the most up-to-date payout logs from your auto insurance company and your health insurance company. So the reason for this is we get a bill from a medical provider, right? And that it doesn't show a payment, but we get a lien from your health insurance company showing that they paid it. Well, hey, we need to make that an issue. So that'll show us how much the doctors adjusted off those bills based on contractual adjustments, how much the doctors billed, how much they got paid, and how much essentially you owe on those bills. And then we want to know how much do you have to pay back to your health insurance company, and that's called a lien. So we'll also double check the file to make sure that we have all the insurance information that we gathered at the beginning of the case, and we're going to double check it, and we're going to triple check it before we send out a demand. We want to make sure that we have everything tight, buttoned up, ready to rock and roll so the insurance company takes us seriously. This stage of the case usually lasts anywhere from about 3 to 6 weeks. Sometimes, again, like everything else, right? Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. I hate to be the lawyer that says it depends, but it does. At this point, we're kind of at the mercy of medical providers to get us medical records. So if you're asking yourself, hey, don't they have laws to follow? They do. HIPAA statutes instruct the doctors that they have 30 days upon receipt of our request to get us medical records. But in our experience, many providers disregard these timelines because they're backed up with medical records requests, and they just say, hey, so sorry, we can't follow the HIPAA guidelines. Some providers, that are good at what they do are going to get them to us faster. But hospitals, for example, are notorious for taking 3 to 6 months just to get us medical records and medical bills. We try to make their requests urgent when we can, but it is unlikely that we've already. It is likely that we've already requested those medical records by this point, and all we're missing are final records and billing from your treating providers for this case, just to sort of wrap up the end of that treatment. So that usually doesn't take us long to get, but sometimes the request doesn't go through and we have to follow up, or we have to resend it, or they say, hey, you got to pay an invoice before we can get you these records, or they say, hey, sorry, we only do mail, and all that can cause a little bit of a delay. But rest assured, we are moving you through this demand prep stage to get you ready for settlement negotiations as fast as we can. As soon as we receive all of those documents, our legal team will let the handling attorney know that it's time to review the case and prepare a demand to send to the insurance company. So that moves from your case manager's desk to the handling attorney's desk, who's going to review everything before it ever hits an insurance adjuster's desk. So our attorneys will diligently comb through all of your medical records and bills and make sure the file is completely up to date. Next, that attorney is going to draft a very aggressive demand letter to the insurance company, letting them know it is time to settle your claim for a fair value. That is called the demand stage. And that demand stage will be discussed when your case enters the next phase, because that's next case phase is your demand phase, when we send out that actual demand letter. So it'll talk to you about what's involved with that. So when the attorney has finalized your demand letter, he or she is going to reach out to you to discuss the demand and get your authority to send it and talk to you about the process after that. So we're going to get your permission in writing to send it out most of the time, and unless we're up against some absolute deadline and you've already told us to do it. But you'll also receive another update just like this one, explaining the process in a video. So rest assured that process will be explained to you. So let me recap. Continue your medical treatment and hang tight while we get your case ready to aggressively negotiate it with the insurance company to maximize your claim outcome. Everything else will be explained in future videos, but for now, rest assured that we're working on getting your case ready so we can get it ready for settlement negotiations and put it on the desk of the adjuster and say, hey, it's time to either settle this claim or potentially we have to file a lawsuit.